Welcome back to Smoked, Pit to Stage. I'm Jordan Hammons, and this is the Dallas Opera.tv show that combines two Texas traditions, the love of opera and great barbecue. Today we're at the Windspear Opera House in the Dallas Arts District, and we're welcoming a few GOATs. Literally and figuratively, we're welcoming members of the cast of the Dallas Opera's education production of the Billy Goat Scruff. Now, you may be familiar with the term greatest of all time, GOAT, and these guys are that too. They're going out to schools and introducing opera to kids all over the DFW Metroplex. Now, in the kitchen, that GOAT can be that perfect recipe that always steps in right when you need it. For me, that's a baked potato salad. You know, one time I had a dinner and we didn't have any potato salad, and so what did we do? We took the leftovers of a baked potato bar, and baked potato salad was born. Let's get up to the 5th floor and meet our guests, and we'll start our episode. We're here with Claire Choquette, the Assistant Touring Supervisor for the Education Department and Assistant Director for the Billy Goat Scruff. She also plays Ernesto in the Billy Goat Scruff. And we are here with Sarah Navy, who plays Lucy in the Billy Goat Scruff. So, as per smoked tradition, we'll start with your favorite smoked meat or barbecue dish.
My favorite smoked meat is brisket. You know, you cook it long, you cook it right, it has all the flavors. It's just what I need.
Do you believe just salt and pepper, or is there anything else that can go on a brisket?
You know, I feel like whatever the spirit leads you to do, if that's more than salt and pepper, that's what it is.
Claire, how about you?
Well, my dad got a smoker 2 or 3 years ago and has been obsessed with smoking salmon. And so he makes smoked salmon every Sunday. And if sometimes when I'm not home, he lives in Oklahoma City, he will deliver some smoked salmon to Dallas, come visit just to bring me smoked salmon. So it has become a really special thing to me.
So when you're thinking about smoked meats and cooking in general, we often think about the special ingredient, the secret ingredient that really sets off the dish. So what's the secret ingredient for you, both in singing and in the characters that you're playing in the Billy Goat Scruff?
I think the secret ingredient is enjoying yourself on stage. I mean, if we're not connecting with our fellow colleagues and singers and enjoying ourselves, having fun singing, discovering new things every time you're on stage, then it becomes, we do the show so many times, it's not as fun for the audience to watch anymore. So we have to find new ways to enjoy it every single time.
With the kids, you never know who you're gonna be in front of, what they're gonna give you, because that's a big part of the performance as well. We get to show them what we have to bring. And if that's, you know, an extra, you know, beat on this note, you know, just a little bit, that's what I wanna share with the kids, yeah.
So I know you're in schools all the time, all over the area, but if our audiences, including our older audiences, want to see you, where are some opportunities for people to see the Billy Goat Scruff?
So we will be in the Windspear on February 5th for a Sunday matinee. And that's great for adults and also great for children. There are children's activities in the lobby before the show.
Hopefully when it gets back warm, we do opera truck performances, and it's where we get to go out into the community. And so not just the kids, but whoever's out there could come and see the show and experience that as well.
Well, we are gonna make potato salad today, and this is not just, you know, your ordinary potato salad. This is actually a baked potato salad, so it has a little bit of those baked potato flavors. The first thing we'll do is we'll start with at least 5 baked potatoes, and we're gonna chop those up. And so we'll give those a rough chop. Now you can include the skin, you don't have to. Some folks don't like it. I think it adds a nice little dimension to the potato salad. And we'll get these chopped and we'll put them in our jar here and we'll get it ready to go. And then we're gonna add the rest of our ingredients. So first thing up is a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. And Sarah, I'll let you put in that ingredient. And then Claire, if you'll add our tablespoon of salt, a ranch dressing seasoning packet, and 2 teaspoons of black pepper. There's about a 1/3 cup of sour cream, and finally our cheese, about 1/2 cup of shredded cheddar.
And I guess this is what makes it more like a baked potato salad.
Exactly. The sour cream and the cheese really give it that more baked potato-y flavor than just a standard egg or mustard potato salad.
I have to say the sour cream is my favorite part.
So once we've got these in here, we'll give it a good stir. And once we have it all mixed together, we'll put it in the fridge for at least an hour before serving. You could serve this hot, but I think letting it get good and cold gives it time for all those flavors to come together. Now, what is kind of your routine as a performer before each show?
I get a chance when I get in my costume, it gives me a chance to refocus and center who is Lucy and what does she do? And as I put on my hat, I finally get into the mode. I'm like, okay, I am Lucy.
You know, with pre-performance routines, I used to be so particular about what I would eat and not eat and where I would go and not go. And it was making me kind of get in my head, all these things I had to do. And it's like, oh, I had caffeine, my singing might not be the same, right? And one time I ended up kind of rolling in last minute for an audition, and I was very hungry. And there was a gas station across the street from the venue. And so I grabbed one of those like gas station hot dogs, you know, good and tasty, and slathered it in mustard, wolfed it down in the parking lot before my audition, got mustard on my shirt, and booked the gig. So I'm kind of, with pre-audition or pre-show routines, it's something we do every day, twice a week. You know, we're singing all the time. And if we're getting enough sleep and drinking enough water, really anything else, it's a part of who we are and what we do. And, you know, a little warm up, but it's so important not to get in your head about it and to just be a human on stage.
Absolutely. So in talking about your operatic experiences, I'd love to hear a little bit about each of your own operatic journeys and what's led you to this point in your career.
Yes, so for me, I think it's important to say that I started in church. And so one would probably say that's really far away from opera. But with that, and then being a part of the Houston Children's Chorus, and then being in the Children's Chorus with the Houston Grand Opera, that really gave me a certain exposure. And it took me a minute, but then I realized, like, this is what I want to do. This is what makes me happy. And so I recently graduated in June with my bachelor's in music from Lawrence University, and now I'm at SMU getting my master's in voice performance. So that's where I am with opera, and this is so important to me for this to be a part of what I'm doing now, just to give back to children, because that's something I wish I had coming from my upbringing.
Fantastic. And I know that all the kids in the area are just so lucky and so excited to get to see you when you come through. Claire, how about you?
Yeah, so my mom jokes that I came out of the womb singing, right? I've always loved to sing. I started studying voice really young. And then when it was time to go to college, I couldn't think of anything else I loved as much as singing. So fell in love with opera during my undergrad and followed into a master's. Now, actually, I've been branching into directing opera a little bit more. As much as I love singing, I found that I'm more passionate about doing what it takes to make opera happen. Actually, I had just put together a team and a production concept for Salome. We submitted it to Opera America and were chosen as winners of Opera America's Robert L.B. Tobin Director Designer Prize.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor and kind of validating as I branch into a new version of opera. I'm just overwhelmed with joy. Honestly, if there's baked potato salad, I don't even need any meat.
There you go.
You can have all the brisket. So.
Oh, thank you. You know, I really appreciate that.
We'll pass this over to Claire.
But I'm not going to share it.
So is this like straight from stir to mouth?
Yeah, what?
Like
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
Get all the edges here.
And so after about an hour of chilling in the fridge, we're ready to try our baked potato salad.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's pretty good. Forgot to bring bacon.
Yeah, you know, the skin really adds that extra flavor. Or texture, rather.
Vitamins.
Yes, the vitamins.
And now we're sitting down with Ryan Lescalite, the Dallas Opera's Education Touring Production Supervisor and the staging director for our education and outreach performances. So Ryan, I have to start by asking, what is your favorite barbecue dish?
So I always go to barbecue places for the sausage, but I feel like in the last couple of years I've been going through a transformation and I really now prefer burnt ends.
Interesting. I know those are gaining popularity throughout Texas, so
A lot of flavor.
a lot of flavor.
Yeah.
So Ryan, as a staging director, I know you've had the opportunity to delve into the Billy Goat's Gruff. Many of us know this story. Is this something that we'll recognize? Are there differences? What's it like working on this story?
I think the big difference in this one from the storybook versions that you see is that we don't have a troll under the bridge. Our bad guy is another Billy Goat that has at some point in his path stopped going to school, stopped listening to adults, and kind of taken the wrong path. And he kind of lives over on the other side of the bridge and doesn't like any company.
So I'm sure this resonates pretty well for the school kids that get to see this show throughout the year.
Definitely, and they like to kind of, the more fun that we make the bully, the more they can engage with it. And I think, definitely, they connect to that character a lot.
As you're working through the year, is there kind of like a secret ingredient or a special technique that you use in the staging process?
Sure, I think like my big philosophy is that I like to engage the artists and I like to use their creativity as part of the process. And rather than just coming in with my ideas and trying to implement them on stage, I like to engage them and see what they would like to see in the story, what they would like to see in these decisions.
So if I've never seen an opera before, and I'm sure a lot of your audiences, this may be their very first opera, why is this a great opera to start with?
It's so easy, it's so approachable, and I think specifically for our age demographic, it's right at that little 25 minutes. So it's not a huge time commitment. It's right in there with the attention span of young children, and it's just very easy. And at the same time, you're hearing, in my opinion, world-class voices singing it, which I think is just like it's the added kind of sauce to it, where adults get a big kick out of it because they're like, wow. Those guys know what they're doing up there. Kids get a big kick out of it because it's a fun, engaging story. So it kind of hits both of those audience demographics, I guess, yeah.
Fantastic. And finally, I'd love to hear just a little bit about your path to the opera world.
Sure, I took a bit of an unorthodox approach. I came from theater, and I came in the first opera I watched, I was just looking for acting. And it was pretty eye-opening. That's kind of, we're dealing with people, master's degrees, doctorate degrees, that at no point in their rise to that have encountered just text and just acting decisions. So that's kind of what I'm able to bring to it, is because my background is purely theatrical and the music was a new aspect to me. Whereas for these guys, it's all music and then the acting's a new aspect. So we're kind of able to kind of meet in the middle in a nice way.
All right, so today's our game segment, Ryan, and we both brought ingredients to make our very own grilled cheese sandwiches for a cook-off. Ryan, what did you bring?
I brought some traditional white bread, the good kind of cheese that has the plastic flap there. This is a really good processed cheese, and some butter, of course.
All right, and then I brought 2 slices rosemary loaf, mayonnaise, a chili fig spread, 2 slices each of Havarti, Gouda, and Port Salut cheese. Now, these all are the makings of a great grilled cheese, but there is a twist, because it's smoked pit to stage, and there's always a twist.
Oh no.
We are switching ingredients.
Okay.
And so with no more information than what I have, it'll be yours. So you're up first, and then I'll come in and do the second one.
Great. So these are, there's some ingredients here that I'm unfamiliar with, but we're gonna give it a shot. Usually I would put butter on the outside of my bread before putting it into the skillet, but we've got some mayonnaise, because that's what Jordan picked out, which is probably the better way of doing it. Anyway, so I'm gonna start with that. So I like to point out too that I have a 4-year-old daughter that everyone's gonna feel very sad for, because I'm gonna make a grilled cheese is probably not gonna be very good. But we're gonna put that in there. We'll put a couple of, a variety of cheeses, I guess. We're gonna put all 3. Just gonna do it. This seems like a thicker cheese, so we'll see how that cooks differently, but that's the way we've got it right now. I think I'm gonna put the fig stuff like as an afterthought. Like after it's cooked and we have a grilled cheese sandwich like sitting here, then I'm gonna do the fig stuff. because I don't really know what to do with that. Well, that looks great. That looks really good. I'm glad that I went with the mayonnaise because it's doing better than the butter would have done. So I'm learning a lesson there. The cheese is actually melting kind of nicely. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm hearing some good sizzle. I think this sandwich is about done. I'm gonna call this done. We're gonna put it on the plate and cut it in half. I'm gonna cut it in half with the butter knife that has mayonnaise on it as a little like flavor addition. Some people don't know about that kind of thing, but I do it. And then I'm gonna put a smear of this fig stuff right there in the middle. So it encourages the eater to maybe dip some in the fig. That's my grilled cheese. Thank you.
All right, so Ryan, of course, brought in the most classic ingredients. So I feel like there's just only so much you can do beyond messing with a classic. So we're actually gonna put just a little bit of this butter in the skillet. Helps us know how hot the skillet is. And then we're gonna butter our bread on either side. Now you can tell this butter is soft, but not completely to room temp because it is wanting to grab in the bread. So the more room temp you make your butter, the better it's gonna do. That's why I like to use the mayonnaise, is it spreads a little more evenly on the bread. And then we're gonna take that first slice, we're gonna put it down in our skillet. We're gonna let both of those get just a little toasted. I've also got the eye turned down a little bit. If your pan is smoking, it's too hot to toast bread. Once these get started toasting just a little bit, we'll get them going. Now, I will admit, I do wish I could cheat just a little bit, because if I could get just a little water, it would help the processed cheese product to melt down a little bit more. Actually, that is the benefit of the processed slice over real cheese, is it actually starts to melt a little faster and typically gives you a more even, gooey center. And that's part of why it's a classic. You know, if I had my ingredients, I would have done something very similar to what Ryan did. With that much cheese, you want to go on a much lower temperature. And really, if you even just, once you get that bread toasted, if you can throw it in the oven, all the better. But the real trick is to take that chili fig spread and get it on the inside of that rosemary bread with the mayo on the outside like he did. So when you get that bite, you get not just the rich fattiness of all that cheese, but you get that sharp acidity and sweetness all mixed into one with the heat and the sweet of the fig spread. Now, different people like their grilled cheese to a different doneness. This one's almost to where we want it. It's a nice golden brown with the bread starting to crisp up on the outside. And then a little birdie did tell me that Ryan prefers his crustless. I'm normally more of a crust person, so I'm actually gonna leave the crust on. And then we'll go into diamonds. There we go, we got a nice little gooey center. And that is a simple grilled cheese. So to finish out our grilled cheese contest, I'm actually gonna split Ryan's into fourths, and I'm gonna call all three of our guests back into the kitchen, and we'll all taste these and make our final determination. Okay, so we have two different grilled cheeses. We're gonna let, Ryan and I cooked these, so we're gonna let the two of y'all judge them, but we're all gonna get a chance to taste them. So just reach in.
So yeah, this is like a dipping sauce here.
It's a schmear.
Schmear. So we're just gonna smear it up.
Pretty high quality stuff.
That is cheesy.
Very cheesy.
3 different types of cheeses I put in.
Can you name all those cheeses?
No.
Okay.
There's Havarti, I think.
Havarti,
The crunch.
Gouda,
The crunch
Gouda.
I love.
and Port Salut.
Make it French.
I do really like the mayonnaise instead of the butter. I think it's a huge improvement.
Kind of tangy.
Yeah, I think the smear is my favorite part.
Thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that.
And then let's try the
I thought I would like the fancy one better, but this is so homey.
Yeah. I want like tomato soup, and I want to be home, and I want to have this sandwich with some soup.
You know, I gotta go with the unpopular opinion. Your sandwich really stuck with me.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. Fantastic. A couple of good sandwiches there.
Yeah, we did it.
Wow.
Looks like we have a hung jury.
Yeah. Undecided.
All right. So glad to have had all three of you on today, and we appreciate all the work you're doing in our community to get the good word about opera out and to bring opera to kids throughout the DFW area.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jordan.
Thank y'all very much.